What's the biggest win you want?
I think clarity on your numbers is a big thing. We have people fill out a pre-event survey for a reason. A lot of times what we're finding is everybody in the space, nobody knows.
Not everybody that works for you needs to hear the conversations which we're going to have.
Yeah.
Because a lot of it's going to be about them.
The best times to re-sign somebody is not they're seeing the fruits of the labor and the results.
I've had a few people bring in assistant coaches or an important team member, but for the most part, it's just that head coach. And the reason is, welcome back to episode number 2 of Coach's Corner with myself, Mike Krause, and the CEO and co-founder of AR Funnels, and my good buddy here, Mr. Bakker Shields, COO and co-founder. Man, welcome back.
Yeah, man. Happy to be back.
Eventful week.
We've already done more episodes of this Coach's Corner podcast than we did of the one we started 3 years ago.
That's it. Consistency is how we win.
We've grown.
Yes. We filmed a lot actually in the last week. Because that's obviously one of our core pillars that we're trying to do is just put out the content, get people to know us, right? Proof over persuasion. Who are these guys? What do they do? What do they actually help with? For those that actually don't know, what do we do?
Yeah, so I feel like that's expanding, right, as we kind of get into some of these other offers and products. But at our core, what we do is we help coaches build their CRMs, right, their funnels. So we set up automated lead funnels and help coaches to acquire more clients. That's what the A and AR stands for, and retain them longer. So keep them longer inside of their business. And that comes in the format, the package of, I think it's like 14 pre-built funnels that we customize with every coach that comes in the door. I think it's like 19 now automations that they get that nurture people for up to and over a year once they come into the system, so that nobody falls through the cracks. But CRM system for coaches helps you acquire more clients, retain them longer.
For those that don't know, AR actually means acquisition retention funnel. That's something I don't think we ever really actually talk about, but that's people's like, yeah, people over at AR. Right? And then this referral come in, like, what does that stand for? And they're like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Just AR. So last week we had a big week. All right. We had 13 new people come on, as we talked about in our Monday meeting. We had more sales calls booked last week than we did in the previous 2 months combined.
Yep.
So I'd say things are starting to really pick up. We're actually on projection to do arguably our biggest month from a new client standpoint sign up, which obviously is like a really big deal as well.
Yep.
And so we've got a lot of moving pieces. Things are going in the right direction. What are you working on this week in the business?
I think for me, it's been a lot of employee stuff. Trying to take ownership of some different things and set up systems so people can be successful. Some of that. And then I think also my biggest project lately has been our workshops. Trying to optimize them, try to make sure that we're set up for success, not only on our end, obviously, of making sure that they're well ran, but also on the client's end as they attend them. Because for those that don't know, I can't remember if we talked about it in episode 1 or not, but
we did.
We started literally a year ago, a little over a year ago, we started bringing in coaches. Back then it was just for free to come test out this new thing that we wanted to do, which was like an in-person day. And so we would have them in, and it was, pretty much just, what do you want to talk about today? How can we help? And then we would do that. And over time they got more and more structured, more and more structured, more and more structured. And so end of last year, around November, or late November, early December, we started to talk about, okay, now I think we're ready to charge for something like this. And so we ended up selling several sessions and starting to have some of those people come in, and we're actually now booked out from, I guess, mid-December, early December, all the way through mid-March, I think it is, last I checked.
Yeah.
And we realized that channel as it stands currently is unsustainable. Like, we can't have one single coach come in 2 to 3 times a week every single week, because it's too much of a, I guess, disruption to the workflow here, where we can't do the things that we need to be able to do to continue to further the business for everybody else that's not in person today. Really valuable for the coach coming in, but it kind of hinders us from building what we need to do.
We have, 3 or 4 team members, not 5.
Yeah.
working on one person's business. So the company kind of takes a halt to make that happen. So the revenue has to make sense for that to work, right?
Yeah. So what we've done is we're transitioning that into more of a workshop perspective. So it's going to be 3 to 5 coaches coming in, which is a whole lot more because we break it down really into pretty what I think is an intelligent sessions. So we have you start out the day with just kind of messaging, funnels, ideation, kind of talking about where do we want to go and mapping that out with them. And then it comes to me where we kind of filter some of that. We talk about what does their current level of business look like. And because we have them fill out such in-depth forms beforehand, we know where they want to go. And I have all of these kind of models and built out of what things look like at different levels in your business, what you need, what's keeping you from going to that next level. So I map all of that out, go through some frameworks that they might be missing that they need to have that unlock. And then Felicity right now is spending a bunch of time building things with people, which at scale is just not doable. So a few things are going to work in tandem here. What we're going to do is we're going to transition to 3 to 5 coaches coming in at a time. It's going to go from 6 hours to more like
day and a half.
10 to 12 hours total over a day and a half. That also gives coaches the ability to explore Dallas a little bit, have some fun, get in some workouts, go sleep in one day, right? So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be transitioning to that and then grouping coaches by revenue level so that we can make sure that the curriculum is accessible and understandable at that level.
Yep.
And then
we don't want to have our $5,000 a month coaches in the same session as somebody doing $80,000 a month because you're going to ask different questions. Right?
Yeah.
So we're going to group people together so that way you're not only asking the questions that you need, but also hearing other people ask questions that you might not have thought of. And also you get to network and learn from those other coaches who are at your same level, trying to get to the next tier.
Yeah. And that's what I think, as we were trying to figure out how do we make this as valuable, if not more valuable in a group perspective than it was from an individual perspective, is my brain went back to the VIP sessions that we've had during Lead Summit. And everyone talks about like how much they would have paid for just those VIP sessions because not only do you get to ask your questions and you get some personalization there, but you hear the questions other people are asking that might be doing a little bit better than you or might have a different way of thinking than you. And that sometimes sparks the unlock that you needed to get to that next level. So
absolutely.
What we're doing, transitioning to 3 to 5 coaches, and we have, instead of it being 3 sessions throughout the day, I think it's like 8 or 9 sessions throughout a day and a half. Very, very, very in-depth, very calculated, very curated in terms of like what we need in what order to make sure that this is successful for you. Lining up catering for meals while people are here, making sure people are stocked with energy drinks and all the things that they need. Custom printed notebooks so that they don't have to be on their laptop being distracted from client messages and employee messages. Like, just use this notebook and it's got everything that you need to go be successful and your whole plan to go be successful. So I'm really excited about that type of a channel because I don't think anybody else in the space is doing anything like it.
Yep.
And I think the feedback that we've gotten so far is it's really, really valuable to get out of your work environment, come here and learn.
We took so much away from the Hermosi workshop and like how they were doing it. And it was great. It's also very broad because we have e-commerce people, we have people doing roofing.
Yeah.
And then we're in there is SaaS people and there's coaches. So it's kind of, the information is not niche, but it's required for every business. But it's like, hey, how can we do the exact same thing, right, with our own twist to it based on what we know from our space? And it's like only for people selling something in a service base that's online in the coaching info world. So really be able to tackle those fitness coaches, which makes up 99% of our clientele that we work with. But how awesome is it going to be able to be to come into a workshop that's exactly how to scale your business? That's not just some basic Zoom calls, which we've had thousands of, but it's really neat to be able to get in and like every time somebody comes in one of these one-on-ones, all of them, there's a light bulb moment.
Yeah.
Where they go, oh, because we can visually break it down, or we can just have better communication, or third party steps in and explains it in a different way.
Yeah.
And so it's really neat. So being able to bring in that business owner. We've had a few people bring in assistant coaches or an important team member, but for the most part, it's just that head coach. And the reason is is because not everybody that works for you needs to hear the conversations which we're going to have.
Yeah.
Because a lot of it's going to be about them.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's really important that we set that standard, how you're going to take this back and operate, how you need to bring it back to them. So what's your biggest, what's the biggest win you want from every coach that comes in for these workshops?
I think clarity on your numbers is a big thing. We have people fill out a pre-work survey, pre-event survey for a reason. And it's a lot of times what we're finding is everybody in the space, nobody knows their numbers on anything. And that's a big bottleneck just in business in general, is people not knowing their numbers. We just got to a point where we can like pull up our numbers any given week and have within 7 days of a range, like we have the exact data from that last 7 days.
Can you give an example of what those numbers, those KPIs?
Yeah. So things that we ask for on the form is, what's your call show up rate? How many calls are getting booked a week? What's your call show up rate, right? What's your call conversion rate? How many are you offering of the people that show up on the call, and then your conversion rate on offers, right? Obviously new customer count. What's your average new customer count over the last 90 days? Not just this month, because it might be an up or down month, but last 90 days. Revenue, EBITDA, which most people have never heard of EBITDA. It's earnings before interest, taxes, depreciation, and amortization, which is just a fancy way to say basically profit, right? Your EBITDA margin, which is another way for saying your profit margin. And we purposefully make them a little bit more high level there, because if you want to grow a big business, you've got to understand those numbers,
you gotta speak the
how the big dogs talk, CAC, yeah. LTV to CAC, lifetime gross profit per customer, which most people have no idea how to calculate that.
Resign rates.
Churn percentages.
Man, that's the biggest one that no one's tracked is the resign rates. Like, how important, after all the calls you've had with people, how important is tracking resigns in your mind?
We see, so it's weird because like I said, I've spent probably 100 hours at this point mapping out coaching business levels and like what the pluses and minuses of each level are, what things look like at each level, what's holding you back from getting to the next level at each level.
When you say level, that's amount of
revenue
income,
level,
right?
yeah.
10,
so 10K,
25, 50.
Yep, I did 10K, 25K, 50K, 100K, and 200K plus. Because the 200K plus is just more volume through. It's not really anything that crazy different. And what's funny is that 10K, people aren't tracking resigns, but they have so few clients that it's not hard to track. Like it's pretty easy to remember, right?
Volume
if you have
broke the
10
system,
people, At 25, you're starting to have some people slip through the cracks, but it's still a small enough customer base where it's not that hard to track. And it's just pure chaos from there on up. Between the 25 to 100K month coaching business, that's where churn skyrockets, right? Because fulfillment typically goes down, quality of fulfillment. And that's also where resign rates go through the floor, because you typically don't have a good enough system tracking when and where people are at in their terms and hitting them up to resign. And to me, I know we've talked about this before, the best times to resign somebody is not the last 7 days of their program, because mentally I'm already checked out. Like I'm going to get a break. Finally, I'm going to go, eat some crazy food this weekend, or I'm going to go do whatever. Like I don't have a coach next week. I'm going to take the week off next week. And I'm already, as your client, I'm already starting to check out and think of what does life look like without you. And you don't want them to picture that. You want to pitch them on a resign. The best time is whenever they have a massive win, somewhere past or at the halfway point in their program. And it's like, well, if they're halfway, why would they resign? Because they're seeing the fruits of the labor and the results, right? If I'm already down 15 pounds and that was my goal at the midway point, then it's like, hey, I think we could maybe accomplish that stretch goal you had of 30 if we resign, if we extend, right? Like let's give us 6 more months. Let's give us 3 more months on the end of this. And I think we can do some crazy stuff and make it sustainable for you. That win, that emotional win portion is a great time to project out with somebody. Think of what we can continue to do if we keep working together.
Yep. And so now we have the resign rates we're helping track and just giving the frameworks for it. I think the big shift when you hit the 25 is that we actually stop becoming the coach and we start to transition to this, like, well, I really enjoy this business side of it. And I think that's why churn starts to fall. And that's also when we start complaining about like lead quality is not good. And it's like before You would have begged somebody to get on a call with you, and now you're complaining that they're not good enough.
Mm-hmm.
And that just goes to show that's like you're starting to slip in the service department because your mentality is changing on what quality individual is. And the business owner shouldn't necessarily think like that. That should be more like the sales person's perspective. But when you're wearing both hats, it becomes difficult, right? Because coach needs to be like client first, and then the sales team needs to be like quality first. And so there's this overlap because you're wearing multiple hats at that point, and you can't get to the position needed to handle that, or as we call it, those awkward teenage years where you can't hire the person full time yet, right? Which is why also like we highly suggest getting a like VA or a setter in your business, somebody that can help you at a 20-hour a week thing versus having to hire somebody for $5,000 a month and you can't afford it. It's like, how can we get a part-time employee started and then they work into a full-time position, right? So that's why we, I guess a lot of people don't know that, but that's a secondary part of our business where we provide VAs and setters inside those coaching companies to help them get to those next levels without having to literally do everything themselves.
Yeah.
Because you burn out, right? Or you're like me, you don't burn out and you just become a workaholic and then it suffers in other areas of your life, right? So then you got to see those things and then fulfill those.
Yeah.
I think a real business owner, all right, going to the entrepreneur side, your job is to build yourself out of your current role. We need to become really good at something, hire somebody to fill that, becoming really good at something else, hire somebody to fulfill that, and becoming good at something else, hire somebody to fulfill that. Whether that's assistant coaching, sales, setting, ads, whatever it may be, but finding help so that you can get out of that part of the business. Unless you just really love that part of the business, then that's the whole point of owning your own business is to do what you want and do what you love.
Yeah. Yeah. The biggest benefit, or like I was on a conversation the other day, for example, with people that we've known for a long time clients of ours, and they were asking about, at one point they had worked one-on-one and then they kind of scaled back and then they were wanting to come back for one-on-one. And at this point we've kind of priced ourselves for most coaches, I think it's fair to say we've priced ourselves out of affordability for one-on-one working with you or I. We have to kind of take the step out of the business so we can work on it instead of in it. And so I was telling them they're asking like, what does it look like? Would you recommend it for us? And I just told them, I was like, hey, if I'm being 100% honest with you, although I would love to get the extra, oomph in revenue every single month coming in, what I think's most beneficial to you is we could get on an hour call every other week for the next 6 months, right? And that's going to be 12 calls. Or you can come in for a workshop, right? For basically the price of 1 month of working with us for 2 hours and get 12 hours of personalization and instruction and learn from other people. And I think it's going to be better bang for your buck. And that's over the course of 2 days, not 6 months, right? So I think, and what I'm most excited about is we've constantly battled this. We know us working one-on-one with these people drives the needle for them, and it's very beneficial. We also know we have very limited time. And so what I'm most excited about is we have now a thing that we can offer that I think is, it kind of kills two birds with one stone. It's more valuable than the one-on-one, and it's affordable and scalable.
And not the compressed time. Being able to take 2 days and learn all the things we need to learn versus having to stretch them out over 6 months. I think that's a lot of people sleep on is like, we're going to do this. It's like drinking through a fire hose versus it's going to be a slow drip for the next 6 months. And then you're texting a bunch of questions because we haven't had time to fill those because our time block of us speaking isn't enough to get all the questions out. Isn't enough to move every needle that's needed to be moved.
Yeah.
And also to figure out like what's the most important thing that you need to do to focus on growing the business. A lot of coaches do a lot of things that are important in the business, but they're not urgent. Or we do things that are urgent and not important. So a lot of what I do in my session is figuring out what's the biggest levers that you can pull that match urgent and important, not just one of the other. And that makes it to where we can actually move the needle the fastest because that's the things that you can do versus somebody else, or you might feel that's important, but that's actually not important at all.
Mm-hmm.
It might look like it is from the outside, but maybe not actually to move the needle on the revenue side.
Yeah, I'm excited about it.
When's the first one?
First one is, I'm putting my calendar, towards the end of March. We already have 3 of them set for the group side of things. And yeah, I mean, ticket price on it is $5,000 for a ticket. I think we're pretty comfortable on that price, and even just saying it out loud. We got our Check-ins Pro people. March is our crazy event, our crazy month.
We're doing the Arnold.
Yeah.
We've got an event. We've got another event that's being hosted here, and we're doing our first workshop. Quite a bit.
Yes.
I think it's in that 23rd-ish.
That's what I thought too. But we'll post all the dates and make sure everybody's good. I can't remember.
I know I got it in here.
I know I sent the invite, and I'm like, where did it go? Oh, I was looking on Saturdays. That's why. March 26th.
Yep. So it's the 26th, 27th.
Yep. So that's
March
the first
26th, 27th, 2026, first workshop.
Mm-hmm.
For those that are interested, just let us know.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I'm excited about it.
Me too.
It's going to be a first come, first serve basis. Obviously, that's how we ran all the other ones.
Mm-hmm.
And so we will tap that out at 5 people for those. And the next one basically is like one a month or every 3 weeks, give or take. We have 3 mapped out now. So if you're wanting to get in within Q1, Q2, this is the time. I actually just received a message from a coach on Instagram. Actually, it's actually worth reading because this is the first thing I'm going to tell him. He said, Mike, man, I need some business help optimizing. I'm at a point to where I'm not sure how much more I can scale given my current systems and workload. I've just been increasing prices to justify the added work, but it's beginning to get me a bit stretched. This is an ideal person who needs to come to a workshop because it's going to walk you through the exact steps that you need to do to get to that next level, because we're tapped out on time, but we're not sure what to do next to get the time back and keep the revenue going.
That's what I love about all the modeling that I've done, and it's pages and pages and I think people are going to be blown away by it. But everybody thinks they're a special little unicorn, right? Like they're unique and they're completely. And it's like, no, all of these problems. As soon as I start describing these problems, you're gonna be like, how do you know what's going on inside of my head? Like, how do you know what's happening in my meetings?
I know exactly when you're going over that in your session because I hear them start to laugh.
Yeah.
Every single time.
Every time.
A coach laughs. They're like, dude, this is crazy. Like, I thought this was just a me thing. And it's like, no, this is.
You are not special. As much as we all like to believe, I am guilty of this too. As much as we all like to believe we're special and unique, we are not. And so the same things that fix somebody else's business are the same thing that are going to fix your businesses. It's that last 3% that is nuanced and going to be unique to you. But 97% of it, you just got to follow the roadmap, follow the blueprint.
I'm excited about that. It's a big step we're taking in Q1, Q2 for AR funnel. So, anything else on that?
I don't think so. I think we both have another call in 1 minute.
Yes. Time to get back to work, working in the business instead of on the business. But dude, appreciate you as always.
Yes, sir.
Like, subscribe, share. If you are one of those coaches that is wanting to inquire about that workshop, or maybe you know somebody that runs a team, or know somebody that you think that would be beneficial for it, please share this with them. There's going to be a lot of information around this to come out, but we're excited to have more people right here at HQ in Dallas. We appreciate you guys.
See you next week.